Hello and welcome to the Fall 2013 World's RV Show going on at Motorhome Specialist, the #1 volume selling dealership in the world. My name is Donnie O'Banion and I'm being joined today by Adam Gudger, who's the National Sales Manager of Thor Motor Coach's Diesel Division, as well as one of the designers of the all-new Tuscany 45 LT that he's going to be demonstrating for us today. Thank you very much for being here, Adam.
Thanks for having me, Donnie. Well, it's really exciting, folks, what we have going on for 2014 on the Tuscany. First of all, we've completely redesigned our front caps for this year. Starting with a glued-in windshield for a much more automotive design. We've also added this nice new chrome accent on the front, which we've added additional LED accent lighting, as well as a backlit Tuscany on the front grille. Very, high-end look. More access to the generator now because this cap's been redesigned in this way, and we think it's really going to be a big improvement for us for this year. And as we're moving along to the side of the coach, you'll notice we've gone to these very large vertical chrome mirrors, adjustable with an additional integrated camera on the side. So rather than adding the camera on the sides of the coach, we have a much better perspective. It's not just about having a nice tall windshield where you have visibility up front, but we also want to make sure that the driver has the ability to really pay attention to their blind spots and just is more comfortable behind the wheel.
Absolutely. When you're talking about a 45-foot motorhome, the driver really wants to be able to see down the side of the coach and give them the security of being able to change lanes with confidence, and it makes it a completely different driving experience, no doubt. So what do we got down on the passenger side of the coach?
Well, the first thing you'll notice is this large entry door. We increased the size by almost 6 inches. This is now 32.5 inches wide. So, getting up and out of the coach, whether you're bringing your groceries in or not, just a large expansive area. We just want the entry to feel inviting, and I think we've really accomplished that. Something else you'll notice is that you got a large front door awning up front. So obviously if it's raining outside, you'll have the ability to keep the entryway dry. And then much more easy accessibility, because sometimes you don't know where you put your keys, you don't want to bring them with you. You have the ability to program through your keyless entry, whatever codes you like to get in and out. And we've also set up this keyless entry now where it works with the baggage doors. Brand new for 2014. All of your storage doors are now integrated, so they have the fully actuated locks.
Now that's a big deal, because you're talking about a lot of bay doors to try to go manually lock. You're going to go leave your campsite for a little while, you're going to be gone for an hour or two. You got to go to every single door and lock them and check them. It's nice to be able to just to push a button and know that all of your belongings are secure, and you can go into town.
Absolutely.
That's a big deal.
And similarly to automotive, we also have a lock actually on the dash, so you can unlock or lock the baggage doors. And then there's also a key fob that comes along with it. So you really have 3 different ways of getting into the front door or the side baggage compartment.
That's a great new feature, really is.
Another thing that's startling as you walk on by is these large tires. Our competition in the industry, for the most part, runs a 275 tire, which is only, it's a smaller tire, it's narrower. This is going to be 3.5 inches wider than the traditional tire, so it'll make for a much better ride. And you'll also notice that they're Michelin brand. And that kind of sort of transitions into what is even more important, that is the foundation on this coach. We want to make this coach look good, but the bottom line is the ride and drive of this coach is going to be second to none. The first thing you'll notice, it's a Freightliner chassis. And as I like to talk about, the Freightliner chassis are not all made equally, because we will add additional features to our Freightliner chassis that, again, the rest of our competition either will reserve for a higher end model or they just simply won't put on at all. And the first thing, and probably the most significant, is the fact that we do have an independent front suspension on the coach. It's a ZF independent front suspension. So when you're talking about body roll and sway, just the overall smoothness of the ride, that independent will do a much better job of adjusting as you're traveling. And obviously, both driver and passenger up front, so we want to make sure that the suspension in the front of the vehicle is going to be superior to anything else. It also increases your wheel cut. We talked again about that 45 length. Well, that makes it much tougher and more intimidating to drive, because you're talking about as long of a coach as you can possibly make it. Well, what's so nice on these tag axle models is you can take all that pressure off the tag wheels, which then cuts down your wheelbase and makes for a tighter turning radius. And then when you add into that a 60-degree wheel cut, when the traditional motorhomes are either at 50 degrees or 55, having that more extreme wheel cut allows you to have a really sweet turning radius. So, you know, if you make a wrong turn, you know, the GPS, you know, maybe sends you down the wrong road, you can actually get that vehicle turned around. So ride, turning radius, bigger tires for a smoother ride, and then again, making more changes for 14, not wanting to settle. We've additionally added a 150-gallon diesel fuel tank for this year. So when you're talking about fuel range, you know, these coaches will get, you know, anywhere 7, 8, 9 miles to the gallon. Is a pretty conservative estimate for what you can expect. And you have a ton of fuel range because obviously 150 gallons will take you a long way. And when you consider everybody else is at 100 for the most part, a big deal. And then the final thing that's also a huge exception for us is the fact that we have a 15,000-pound hitch receiver on this vehicle as well. Again, comparing it to the 10,000 that's more traditional for this type of model, just a lot to sell and a lot to you know, to have as a customer when it comes to, you know, features and real value that you're just not going to find on our competitors' models.
No question. And you said it best when you said it first. You know, not all Freightliners are created equal. I mean, there's a lot of additional features that y'all added to the normal Freightliner. You know, all of them just as equally important as the other. But the independent front suspension system, probably one of the things that is the one of the rarest features that y'all added to the coach. You just don't find many companies that will even offer that feature on any of their models.
And you know, something else I forgot to mention, but also at a 450 horsepower motor, you know, having this 8.9 liter at 1,250 foot-pounds of torque, our competition for the most part is running either a 380 or a 400 horsepower, you know, in an effort to try to keep the price point where they liked it to be. I mean, if we're going to build something at 42 or 45 feet, you know, we want to make sure that we're giving you, you know, all the power, all the ride, and you know, all the fuel that you want when you're traveling. And then as we move along, another big deal is the fact that there is dual fuel fill on this coach. You know, obviously, you know, different fuel stations, you might not be familiar with the area. It might be more difficult as you get into the larger vehicles, so we want to make sure that fuel is accessible so that when you do run out of fuel or run lower, you can get in and be able to fill it up, you know, very easily. And then moving on to another subject, you know, obviously the exterior on the side of the coach has also been really enhanced for this year. One of the biggest changes that we've made is we now have frameless windows on the unit. In fact, every Thor motor coach model for 2014 will have the frameless windows, and we didn't sacrifice the dual pane feature as well. So these are a true thermal pane window, which means it's a charged window. There's argon between the two panes of glass, so it's going to, you know, keep that air conditioning in on those hot Texas days, or if you're, you know, Canadian or you like to travel into the colder weather. It's also going to make sure that the inside of the coach, you know, running that aquat system, it's going to keep everything nice and toasty for you.
Absolutely, absolutely, and just I mean, aesthetically, a lot better look. You know, more of a bus conversion style look. What you'd find in like in a Prevost or a Newell. You know, it really enhanced the outside of the coach. And then of course your paint job. I mean, you know, I've been raving about that since you did it. I think it's one of the most noticeable improvements from 13 to 14 is the exterior paint job, and not just the scheme itself, but the quality of the paint. I mean, the cut and buff, what y'all are doing to finish the coach is really, really impressive for 14. I'm sure you can tell us a lot more about it than I can.
We've always used the best type of paint. We use Sickens brand, which is a great brand of paint because Sickens paint has a more elasticity to it. It doesn't cure all the way. And so when you're talking about a fiberglass unit, you know, fiberglass will expand and contract with temperature change. So we needed to make sure that we used a more automotive type of paint that's going to have the ability to move with that expansion and contraction. So the paint's going to hold up over the course of time. So that's a big deal. And then it's just about, you know, making sure that the shine and the look is there. And so there's almost $3,000 in additional labor that we put into the exterior paint job for 2014. And that's just that full cut and buff, that color sanding, and that process of making sure that you get that nice smooth feel, more clear coat on it as well, so you get that depth of the paint. So when you're driving down the road, you know, people are really going to take notice because there's a big difference in the way this motorhome looks than a lot of the other ones that are out there. So our patio awning is also special for us. The first thing you'll notice is that the awning is mounted to the slide box. And right now the slide out's in, but if you think about it, you know, with this slide out coming out 33 inches, if the slide awning was mounted to the actual sidewall, that's 33 inches of depth that you'd be losing in your patio space. And then the other big problem that we have with the awnings being on the wall, which again, a lot of other manufacturers will do, is there's only about 6 inches above that slide box. So when that awning comes out, the only way to mount it up there is for it to literally come out completely straight. Well, the problem with that is we all know it's not always high noon and the sun's right over our head. It can be over here on the one side.
Sure.
The rain, if your awning's coming straight out, it'll pool up, and then you're going to have to bring the awning winch. The whole idea of having the awning is for shade and for shelter. So this awning, it'll have more pitch, it'll have more depth, and it has that nice clean look because there isn't any hardware on the side of the unit.
Absolutely, it does obstruct the full body paint job and just blends right into the to the paint scheme itself, where it's just you know, not even visible.
And another great thing that has been introduced with this awning is that there's a sensor in the bar that extends, and so with motion, it'll detect too much wind or too much rain, and it'll actually bring the awning in on itself. So you're not constantly having to, you know, wonder if the awning should be coming in because it'll otherwise get blown off the side of the coach. You know, obviously we don't recommend people have them out in the hurricanes and things like that, but this will actually have this smart feature to it that it'll bring itself in when it needs to. And then as we move along down, you know, you got to have your outside entertainment, because sometimes your company isn't entertaining enough, so you got to have some other ideas. But we've gone to these new LED TVs. It's also a smart TV, so you know, if you want to browse the internet, it's got the features like that are available to it. We've added additional speakers, so you know, the output audio-wise on TVs, you know, with all the extra ambient noise you have outside in the coach, sometimes not enough. So we want to make sure that if you want to hear the commentator, whatever type of program you're looking toward, we can do that. It ties in with your Blu-ray, it ties in with your satellite system. So you know, really anything that you want to watch outside, you're going to have the ability to do so. And it really doesn't take up any space, because you know, the big thing too, right, is we don't want a TV that's interfering with your ability to get in and out of your storage compartments. It's out of the way. It's built into the back of your dinette, and it's up high enough too, so that when people are sitting down, you're not going to be having to, you know, do one of these things to try to catch and watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're a tall guy, and this
program.
thing is completely, you know, up out of the way. We don't have to worry about it hitting your head on it. You know, a lot of them are down here. I mean, you got to be paying attention.
Yeah, you do.
I've done it before.
You get a couple bumps on the head.
No doubt. And you know, when you went to open the doors a little bit ago, I mean, look inside that thing.
Tons of space. In fact, the 45-footer has 260 cubic feet of exterior storage, so just a massive amount of room. And you know, obviously, if you're going to go to a bigger motorhome, that means you're going to spend more time in it, which means you have more stuff to bring along with you. So you know, we wanted to make sure that we designed our chassis to where we could accommodate that. And then something else that makes us somewhat special is the fact that we do liner bays differently. There's a number of manufacturers that will use either rotocast, plastic essentially, or they'll use a felt. And you know, the problem with the mouse fur or felt or whatever you want to call it is that it gets dingy over time. You know, dust and dirt collect. It's very difficult to clean. Good luck trying to get a carpet cleaner to come down and do that for you. But with this, it's a fiberglass product, so you can wipe it down. It's very durable. It's an insulator as well. And you know, we have a lot of customers that come from Canada. In fact, the Tuscany is the #1 selling brand of diesel motorhome in Canada. So, you know, it helps with the whole underbelly from an insulation standpoint, because we want to make sure that your water tanks and all your lines and everything aren't going to freeze up. So this will help keep that area contained. This is also a heated compartment. We are using AquaHot on all of our coaches, so that means that it's a diesel burner that supports all the units. So one of the other reasons we went to a 150-gallon fuel tank, but this diesel burner will send antifreeze basically to these small radiators throughout the inside of the coach to keep it nice and warm, gives you unlimited hot water. It doesn't dry out the air in the coach, so it makes it more four-season. But in addition to heating the whole inside of the coach, we're also putting heat exchangers not only in our wet bay compartment that have the potential of freezing up, but we're also putting heat down in the regular storage area, which is unique to only, I think, a couple of manufacturers in the industry. So This has a truly heated basement on it.
That's a great feature. Really, I didn't know that y'all were heating the actual bays. I knew you had the wet bay, but I didn't know that y'all were heating the underbelly. Again, I mean, that's a really rare feature. We
have such a demand in the colder climates, so we want to make sure we can accommodate them. And something else that's really nice with this design here is that a very, very large pass-through storage tray. and I believe this tray will hold, it's like 800 pounds. So, I mean, you can put all the stuff in the world in here, and you can pull it out on either side of the coach, and it obviously makes it much more convenient than having to try to climb into the belly to get at whatever it is that you need.
That'll hold a couple of buddies out at the races.
That's right. Yeah, if the kids are misbehaving, you know where they're sleeping tonight, right? So, just kidding, guys. So other couple features that we have a gravity water fill right here. On the other side of this door, and then there's also side docking lights, so at nighttime when you want to park the coach, you don't have to worry about not seeing where you're going. Obviously being the larger coaches with the tag axle gives you plenty of carrying capacity. I'd say upwards of 7 or 8 or 9,000 pounds, so plenty of additional storage because you have the extra support.
And y'all are running 295s all the way around.
All the way around.
Now, some competitors will go to a 285, 295 up in the front to give you the better handling. But then for money's sake or whatever, they'll come back here and put on a 275, 285. I didn't realize that y'all had made that expense as well, going to the 295s all the way around.
For us, it's all about balance. The better this coach is balanced all the way through, the better it's going to ride. And we're not going to save a couple dollars here and there and try to trick anybody. I mean, we want to make sure that we put all the right things in this coach so that it rides better than anything else in its class.
Really nice feature.
And then, something that has changed, we now have batteries located on this side of the coach. We've actually reversed and put our DEF tank on the roadside, and we'll talk about that in a second, but a nice feature of making that changeover. And then finally, as you reach the rear of the coach, you'll notice where your Magnum inverter is. We do use a 2,000 watt inverter, but one thing that makes ours special is that it is a pure sine wave inverter. And a pure sine wave inverter is going to make sure that the washer and dryer, your televisions, refrigerator, microwave, anything that runs on 110, it puts less stress on the appliances, so that just means they're going to last longer, and that makes a big difference. And there is additional expense to do that, but it's not just about making sure that everything's going to work up until your warranty period. We want to make sure that things are going to work a lot longer than that, and we invest money in more expensive brands because we know they're better quality, and we want to make sure that that conversion of 12 volt to 110 is going to be as pure as it can possibly be, so that stuff will last a long time for you. Well, as you can see, Donnie, not only did we redesign the front cap, but we also redesigned the rear cap for 2014. So there's a number of new features that really taken the back end of this coach up to another degree. Starting with, obviously a much more visible rear taillight assembly, not only just having one set but two on either side, and you'll notice the height of them as well. That right. Means a whole lot because keep in mind most people will be pulling something behind, and so we wanted to make sure that these taillights would be visible above that tow vehicle. And another added feature to these is that they are LED taillights as well, so they're going to be visible from further distance. They're more efficient.
They're not burning out all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. So that's a big deal. And then in addition to that, we've added some additional lighting up above. We have twin docking lights, the same as what you'd have on the side of the coach, but on either side of the camera assembly. So, when you're backing up again, not everybody travels during the daytime. We want to make sure that, if you get in that park late, maybe it's a place where it's dimly lit, this is going to really do a good job of making sure that you know exactly what's going on behind you. And, also that camera is much more flush and integrated now in the way that we designed it. So we designed the cap around what we were going to have rather than trying to add things after the fact, because there's been so much new technology that's been added to these coaches that you really have to know about that stuff ahead of time so that you can make sure that it's all built in properly. And then, just taking it to a further degree, even your 7-way connection. I mean, you'll see a lot of these, on a metal bracket sticking off to the side. They get knocked off. This is up and it's integrated into the cap, so it was designed for it. And then, obviously we got to dress up these coaches too. So, we put the nice chrome accent piece. There's also a chrome Tuscany rear mud flap on there as well. So just a little bit of bling to go along with everything else.
The exhaust
is all done that way as well. So just a much, much better looking rear end. I mean, I think,
I like how y'all made it to where the rear ladder comes off.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be just sticking in here all the time.
And as a safety issue, at the park, when you got little kids and stuff, you don't have to worry about them climbing up on top of the coach without you knowing it or anything like that. So I've got a pair that I never know what they're going to get into. So it's nice to be able to take the ladder off.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and it just, you know, where you can see the paint job, which, by the way, I love how you brought it all the way down to the corner, you know, just to extend the graphic.
Sure.
Instead of just dropping it off up here at the top, which is what's the norm. Just did an exceptional job in the paint scheme. And the fiberglass cap, you know, all the extra work that you did right here, you know, with the additional cuts in the mold, just to add some real design to the back of the fiberglass itself, not just the paint job to where typically it's just a flat back and, you know, a paint scheme that's poured over the top of it.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, obviously, you know, ladder it does come in handy because you should be checking, you know, your roof seals from time to time. You know, you get underneath some low-hanging brush or whatnot.
You're not going to have to check them as often with yours because
you don't. You're right. You're right. So you want to check them, but one thing that is nice, and you bring up a very good point. Probably one of the nicest features on our coach is the fact that we have a truly molded fiberglass roof. So, you know, just like your front and rear caps are a molded glass, you know, this is a full roof cap. And you have to be really careful out there because, you know, I wouldn't say they're misrepresenting themselves, but to call a Phylon, which is basically a composite of plastic, fiberglass mixture that's less expensive, lightweight, and something you have to bend, you know, you have a nice, solid, you know, durable, something you don't have to worry about with a molded fiberglass roof on this unit. It's a heavier roof piece, but, you know, just something you never have to worry about. And, you know, our roof designs being all aluminum and, you know, having that high density insulation throughout our floors, our sidewalls, and the roof. I mean, we really do an excellent job of building into the overall, you know, conversion of the coach, you know, something that's going to last. Because, you know, when you think about these chassis, you know, you can run these chassis 500,000 to 1,000,000 miles. So, you know, it's up to us as a manufacturer to put the structure in, those things that, you know, are going to allow the conversion, the house of the coach to last right along with the chassis.
You know, and underneath the fiberglass roof, you know, as you alluded to, you know, you've got a full aluminum, I mean, it's a full walk-on roof.
Yes,
you know, a lot of times it's just going to be down the sides. They don't spend the additional money. You know, their centers are too far apart to actually have a true structurally sound roof from front to back, you know, behind the air conditioning units. Doesn't matter. You know, it's a full walk-on roof. And then, you know, as you said, you know, that one-piece fiberglass roof on top, that's a big, big deal.
Yeah, we're talking, I mean, you know, inch tubular aluminum trusses every 15 inches and, you know, bent to make sure that they get the nice, you know, runoff with the, you know, water that would hit the top of it, and zero attic airspace. I mean, fully insulated all the way through and through. So just a really impressive roof design. Donnie, we have a couple special things that we've changed with the design on the 14s. As you can see, our batteries are now much more accessible, and this is great because, you know, these require distilled water, and you want to be able to get at those as easily as possible. And, you know, with some of these, you know, you got the flashlight and the funnel and you're trying to figure out how to way to get in, you can see everything's right here and available for you, so you can make sure that all of these house batteries are well maintained.
Absolutely.
Another big thing I was a huge proponent of and we worked towards and added for 2013, but we've gone to a really nice, powerful power cord reel, automatic power cord reel. And we selected a more expensive brand, being the Glendenning. And, you know, the problem is that if you spend less, things aren't as reliable. This is something you never want to break, because let me tell you, when you're getting into the campsite or leaving, I should say, and you want to bring everything out, this is a reliable system. It'll bring it all in. If you've ever had to try to handle a power cord reel in cold weather, or, you know, it's sloppy outside, I mean, you
just like
literally
take
need
up
a
a
shower.
giant bay. Oh, you just can't fold them.
It's unbelievable. So
really
this is nice and convenient, keeps everything nice and tight, utilizes the space much better, and I think you'll be really happy with this design. And something that you wouldn't think is a big deal, but something that we changed for 2014, I drove my engineers nuts with this one because it required major redesign, but putting the DEF tank on the roadside. Now, we're only one of 2 manufacturers in the industry who are doing this right now. And see, what basically happened is in 2010, when diesel motors required diesel emissions fluid, we didn't realize that at some point they were going to put the DEF on a pump at truck stops. Well, we came to find out that with semis, all of those were located on the roadside. So guess what? When you want to go to a truck stop and get your DEF refilled, which is approximately about every 3,500 miles or so, if you don't have it on the roadside, you would literally have to drive the wrong way into a truck stop. And, if there's a long line of semis or whatever, you'd literally have to get your other passenger to get out there and, stop in the middle of the road so that you can come back around and fill it up. So now you can go through the truck lane the way you want to. You're going to pay like half the price for DEF, and you're not having to lug around one of those 5-gallon tanks and, where you're going to put it, is it going to fall over or whatever. Just makes it much, much more convenient. And for 2014, we made this roadside DEF location a standard feature on every diesel model. A big, big change. It was actually something that came from a lot of our customers' input from being out there on the road and realizing, look, this is not a really good thing. So for those of you customers out there that let me know about it, I appreciate it. And this is going to be a game changer for us.
Huge customer benefit.
Absolutely.
Really is. Really is.
And then as we move along, we'll find our wet bay compartment here. Again, another docking light, obviously one on each side of the coach. But just a very convenient area. Again, this is all heated. We put a heat exchanger off of the AquaHot system designated down in the wet bay. Now, if you were not to have AquaHot, there's two methods of heating this area. It's either through a small 12-volt block heater that really won't do much of a job, so if it gets really cold, you probably should just leave because it's probably not a good idea to be there. Or you duct heat off of the furnace, which will do a decent job, but this will actually give you designated heat. Obviously, plumbing heat downward, heat rises, so this is a much better situation for us, and we can protect all the areas here. Additionally, we have central water filtration, so all the water that comes into the coach will be filtered. Very easy to flush the tanks to keep those clean, whether you're adding city water or antifreeze or whatnot. All that stuff is very easily added, and then you have a nice amount of room down below for dumping the tanks. So not a lot to be said about this other than the fact we try to keep things nice and simple. There's the shower here, so if you need to clean yourself off or whatnot, it's all right here and just very easy to use. Pretty well self-explanatory for the most part.
And to touch on the AquaHot heating system again, we've talked about how that it does heat the bays, that it goes in underneath, some different functions that it performs. But the big thing to me, just as a consumer, is the amount of hot water. I mean, because typically you've got a 8 or a 10-gallon water heater. You can't get in there and take a shower like you do at the house.
You can't.
There's the rapid recovery systems. Even the tankless, it still can't be done. The AquaHot heating system is really the only thing that provides a rapid recovery water system that would provide you hot water like you would have at your home.
Absolutely.
It's virtually impossible to run out of hot water.
It'll take you a full hour on a traditional 10-gallon gas electric hot water heater to get that 19 gallons of hot water. It takes a long time, and this gives you unlimited hot water, which is a huge deal because you can be comfortable, you can feel like it is your home, and then when you add into the fact that you get nice consistent heat throughout, there's only like a 7-degree variance versus you could be upwards of 20 degrees on a traditional propane type of system. It's not going to dry you out, so you're not going to feel like you want to go because you're irritated. There's just so many neat things about the system, and it is so reliable.
Yeah, you're not relying on LP gas or anything else. You've got an electric element. It's just a much cleaner, much better system. And then, of course, one of the key features that separates the 45LT from any other floor plan in the industry is the massive full wall slide that you put in this coach. I mean, as far as I know, it's the largest in the industry.
Yeah, we're not aware of anybody making any larger. And, we don't just do it on the 45, our 42-footer that we offer, and then we have that brand new 40-foot rear bath that's become really popular.
Yes.
I'm all about square footage. I mean, if you think about it, when people are wanting to buy these larger coaches, they want more livable space. Believe it or not, this coach right here with a 28.5-foot slide, I said 28.5-foot slide, is 481 square feet inside. So, I mean, you just think about that. I mean, that's larger than some flats you have in Manhattan. So, I mean, it'll give you a lot of room.
Bigger than my first apartment.
Yeah, I mean, you can be comfortable. And so, we integrate a hydraulic mechanism in here, so it's very reliable. It ties to the frame. It's got 3 rams. It's got a pressure equalization valve on either side, so we make sure we have consistency moving in and out. And we build structurally to really support it, and that's the key. And it took us a long time, and our engineers a long time in research and development stages to figure out how we could do it and feel confident in it. And it's been so reliable and so good that we just continue to add it to more and more units because if you think about it, when you have 2 slides on a side versus 1, you're losing a lot of space because you have either side of the slide that's really wasted space, and you have the distance in between for those to clear each other. So it not only lends to overall square footage, but it also lends to storage too. And so, you know, if you want that extra pantry that I otherwise couldn't figure out, and you'd be surprised, you think 45 you have a lot of room, but I tell you what, I mean, you want to try to make sure you evaluate this floor plan critically and put all that you can in, and this full wall slide has been such a godsend for us because, you know, we've really been able to design much more creative space, larger showers, bigger refrigerators, bigger galleys, you name it. It all works because of that.
Yeah, and there's not that separation wall, you know, between your slides traditionally. So when you walk in, I mean, it just has unrivaled, you know, visual. When you walk inside this coach and you can see all the way to the back of the home, it just completely opens the space up. It's not even just the additional square footage, but visually, it's just unlike anything else in the industry when you walk in and see that much living space without the divider wall between your slides.
It just makes it so much more fun to RV. I mean, and more comfortable, and you just want to be out and living in it more. And so we have the driver's side access to the same pass-through storage bays, and then your aquat system is contained within here. One thing I do want to mention again, this is the diesel aquat system. I mention that because there's a lot of companies out there that are running a propane system, or in fact there's one in particular that does, and it's just traditionally something either you see a propane furnace or you see a propane aquat. We're going to spend more money to put the diesel system in so it can tie off of that diesel fuel tank.
Absolutely. And does that make it 3 zones instead
It is,
of 2?
yeah. There'll be 3 zones inside, and then you also have the 2 zones outside. So it really is a 5-zone system when you think about it, and it's very easily operated because, you know, all you simply have to do is go inside. You can turn the electric and the diesel element on because there is an electric feature to it as well. So as long as it's 45-degree ambient temperatures and above, the electric element will actually do a good job of maintaining it where you're not even using diesel fuel. And then when it gets down below in colder temperatures, that's when the diesel will work on its own to help maintain the heat of it. And just simply through the thermostat, you just set it to the furnace selection, and you can essentially pick which zone and whatever temperature you desire.
Yeah. And what do we got here? What's our last bay here?
And so this is just simply a front electrical bay, and you'll have a lot of your modules and wiring connections for the dash area of the coach. You know, everything's well labeled, color coded, and clean. And we keep this all sealed off from any area so it's not going to be susceptible to any type of damage.
Well, Adam, you guys have just done an exceptional job on the exterior of the new Tuscany. What about you take us for a tour of the inside?
I'd love to. Let's go.
All right. And this, of course, is what everybody's been waiting for. I mean, what you pulled off on the inside of this motorhome, I mean, this particular floor plan, I mean, it's incredible, Adam. I mean, everything that you were able to accomplish, even in 45 feet, I mean, it's amazing.
Well, thanks, Donna. You know, we did really well with the 45 LT when we first debuted it last year, and we just felt like there was more that could happen. So, you know, we looked at everything, worked with the engineers, and we've come up with a couple new ideas that just basically has taken this floor plan to a whole new level. You know, starting with this massive TV, I guess, you know, just like everything's bigger in Texas, we like to make sure every TV is bigger in our models than anything. This is the first ever 60-inch television that's been put into any motorhome for that matter, but 60 inches. And then in addition to having this massive space, it's set off enough because of the opposing slides that, you know, the TV doesn't really feel like it's on top of you.
No, not at all.
And then we've also transitioned a nice large solid surface countertop all the way through. So there's a nice workstation here. You know, the Euro recliner can move in and out. So if you want to watch TV with it, if you want to set up at your station, again, it's a smart television. So, you know, you could even operate your computer through the TV, which, you know, I guess that would be okay.
That's
right?
a big monitor.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, obviously, you know, with these opposing slides, it's lent for a lot more room. I mentioned 481 square feet inside, but, you know, one of the areas we've always had a problem is in the center of the coaches because, yeah, it gives you more room and so it makes you feel less confined, but, you know, how can we really make it workable space? And so what's really lended to that very, very nicely is these L sofas. And not only will you find it on our 45, but almost just about every model that we offer within the XTE line all the way through the Tuscany line, you have these L sofas. And with this L sofa, what's also nice is it closes away. So, you know, one of the things that we really work toward in our own development is we want to make sure that not only you have a ton of usable space when the slides are extended, but also the ability to get to the kitchen, to get to the bathroom, to get to the bed on the coach. You'll find on every model that we design, they're going to be just as usable, slides closed as they are extended, and that's uncommon in this industry because, quite simply, a lot of manufacturers just don't look for that when they're trying to make a difference. And then just little things. I mean, moving on to the dinette, even you'll notice a very large space. So if you want to put your knickknacks or whatnot up there, really decor it out the way you want to. A lot more usable storage. There's another computer station that's built into this.
And with the added width that you gave here, you not only get the additional storage space, but the easiest to use extendable table. And I mean, this thing is actually deep enough to easily sit 4 adults, and you don't have the separate leaf that you have to set inside the table anymore because this would only be half that width, and then you got to go to a closet and get your leaf. This is just really, really well done. And like I said, you have so much space inside the motorhome. Like I said, I just love the way you used it. And then the dinette being on this side in the first place. I mean, that's really rare. I mean, you've talked about these for years, how few floor plans actually utilize the dinette on the curb side.
We really strive for that because what you don't realize, especially if you haven't owned a motorhome before, is that when you go to the park and you're on the ocean or you're in the mountains or whatever, you don't want to be looking at your neighbor. You want to be looking out at your vistas. And by being over on this side, you're really going to be able to kind of use that RV the way you wanted, where you're sitting out and looking at the mountains or whatever it is. And it's so much nicer, for those that we've polled and really asked the question, what are some of the things you're looking for? And there's been so many customers that have came to me and said, Adam, why aren't you putting dinettes curbside? So it's a staple for us. I mean, there's, I think, maybe 1 or 2 floor plans in our entire lineup that don't have them on the curbside, and we'll continue to do that sort of thing.
And it's great for families as well. It's not like you're disconnected from everybody who's outside the coach. When you're sitting down to eat and you've got family that's outside, they're grilling, they're talking, you're sitting here at the sofa. Again, it's just a much better arrangement for whether it's a family or a couple, however you're traveling. These just have always made so much sense to both of us. I'm really glad to see you integrate it in so many of your floor plans.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And, it's just, you got the cab chairs that'll flip around. You get this nice workable space. Even if you're not watching TV, have a fireplace here. Not only it looks nice, but it also emits some heat. So, again, with the Aquat, you also have an electric element working through the fireplace to warm this area up. Tons and tons of storage, overheads, nice depth above the L sofa. You'll notice even all the window treatments, there's hardwood on those now. Yes. Hardwood face frames, so the cabinetry's really been elevated. We've gone to some better colors, which really tie in much better with our interiors. We've even upgraded the carpeting for this year. I mean, we've spent more money to go to a more expensive, more durable carpet that, obviously we want, again, things to last on the unit itself.
Sure. You've gone to the new MCD pull-down shades, so you have both solar and blackout pull-down shades.
Absolutely.
Which is a really nice feature.
No longer having those strings that could break. The dust would always pick up in those day-night shades. So, it keeps the coach cooler with the solar and, keeping all that UV from getting in and damaging your coverings. We don't like any of that stuff. Everything's solid surface in here. You got a lot of manufacturers that'll put, Formicas and trim out the edge and coring. We do all fully solid surface all the way throughout the home. Even the ultra leather, this is a more expensive, more durable, same material you'll find in a Newell. So I mean, really high end, and it's going to last. You can't scratch it. So if you have pets, that you're going to bring into the vehicle, you don't have to worry about them, marring up your interior. This is all Villa International Furniture as well, which is a more high-end manufacturer. So you have the reliability to know that the stuff is going to last. Sleepable space. This something that we always try to do in everything is make sure that in addition to the king bed that's always going to be in that back of the coach, but there's also a separate sleeping space up front. So if you have guests that come with you, if your husband's a snorer, I get booted out every once in a while. You can bring this area out. It's got a full air mattress on it and gives you a nice sleepable area. When you go to the 42-footer, it's a 96-inch L, so you even get a bigger sleeping space there, and we may or may not even be working on another one that'll even give you more. So it's really neat to know that not only is it a huge living space because of this full wall slide and everything else, and the 33-inch deep opposing slide, but you still have all this other room as we move along to the back of the coach. Full porcelain polished tile flooring, and then we've also added this nice large tile inlay as well, just to spruce up the interior and really bring out that extra attention to detail that we're so proud of in the design of the coaches. And again, kind of referring to what you were talking about before with not losing anything, this is an 87-inch long galley, so just a massive galley on the coach, and we weren't concerned about putting a dishwasher within the unit, because in a lot of cases you're losing a bank of drawers to do so, but in this one, because it is so long, you still get nice wide drawers with the full depth to them, and then even a drawer underneath this dishwasher as well, but just a ton of storage, ton of overhead space as well, very deep, adjustable shelves within here, a full convection microwave, and then another big feature for 2014 is this new induction cooktop. Not only does it make the coach all electric, so you're not having to bring any propane on board, but with induction technology, it doesn't require as much energy to produce the best and most efficient type of heat. We're really just trying to make these coaches more residential, and if you look at a house, it's the bigger TVs, it's all the convenience features, it's all that new easier stuff. The big residential refrigerators. I mean, you'll notice not only does it have the the ice and water on the door and all this capacity, it even has the nice pull-out French drawer on the bottom. Over 20 cubic feet. All electric, Whirlpool brand. So things that you are familiar with, you can have a lot of confidence in, and they just don't have the failure rates of those older style motorhomes with the LP electric refrigerators like the Dometics and the Norcold. So just a much better appliance with more reliability and more capacity to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Frigidaire, Fisher Paykel. Beautiful backsplashes this year. I love how you went to the glass inserts in there. Just give it a whole new look for 14. Just did a beautiful job here in the kitchen area.
Thank you.
You bet. So not only this huge kitchen and all these additional living areas that you have, what's amazing to me is that you pulled all this off and it's a bath and a half.
Correct. And that's been probably the single most popular item that we've had as of late with floor plan design, is having a half bathroom. So again, with guests that are going to come over, maybe you have some people that are going to be traveling along with you, grandkids or whatever, you have this extra space, and then the owners have their own personal bathroom in the rear of the coach. And we've also tied this in, so not only is it a half bathroom, but it's also your laundry room as well, because there is a stackable washer and dryer that's located as well, and so it allows us to create more space in the half bath. You got your sink that's very accessible, good storage, and just gives you plenty of room.
Well, I love that whole concept. By putting the stack washer and dryer in there, it's much, like actually having a laundry room, it's quieter. You can actually run it at night at different times of the day. You're trying to watch TV, and all the other floor plans is always exposed. It's out in the, typically the middle of the coach. This way you can actually close it off in its own separate room. It's just much quieter. You can use it day or night.
Absolutely.
It just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stacked washer dryers that are located in the rear caps as well, which in these coaches, even when they're 45 feet, you don't have a whole lot of hanging space. And so by moving it out of the rear bathroom, it isn't near the bed where you're going to sleep, and then you're also going to pick up that much needed hanging space and wardrobe area that a lot of the other manufacturers have to sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And little things like a window. We put windows in our kitchens, we put windows in our half bathrooms just to bring in a little bit of ambient light, and really will come in handy, and something you don't realize you're missing until it's gone, but just something that we just kind of have a rule that we always want to try to make sure is available in the half baths and in the kitchen areas.
Speaking of windows, something that me and my father is most proud of, we've been working on this for years, not only with you guys, and we're so proud to see y'all doing it, but just industry-wide, is getting the manufacturer's suggested retail price on the, affixed to each individual coach before they're shipped to the dealerships. Because, unfortunately, some dealers alter the manufacturer's window stickers and they reflect a higher price. Or of course they can just remove them all together and create their own version of retail pricing, even though that's against United States federal law. If you don't know the manufacturer's suggested price, you can't be sure of the percentage discount you're receiving from the dealership. So we always tell our customers to demand a copy of the MSRP and only do business with dealers like Motorhome Specialist, who not only prominently display the MSRP, but an upfront percentage discounted sale price without having to ask for it.
Another important thing to talk about when talking about these MSRP sheets is really taking a look at how many options are on the coaches. Not a lot of people realize, Donnie, that your resale value is determined by how much of the total price of the coach is standard equipment.
Right.
And with National Auto Dealer Association, who's the one that sets the pre-owned prices, that's all that they look at. That's all that they take from it, is what the base price is. So we as a manufacturer truly have control over what type of depreciation and what type of resale value you're going to get when you go and trade the vehicle in. And we hope that people are realizing they're getting the most value for their dollar, and we're going to take really good care of them. So when it comes time to trade and look at the next greatest idea that we come up with, that we make it as easy for them as possible. And one thing you'll notice on any of the Thor Motor Coach diesel products is we're always going to have the least amount of options, which means ultimately we have the best resale value of any diesel motorhome on the market today.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a tremendous idea to just add stability to coach ownership, because at some point in time, as you said, you're going to be selling it, trading it, something, and this is just going to add value to your coach, well beyond measure.
We do a lot of special things with our ceiling as well that I just first want to point out. We are now offering LED ceiling lights throughout the model. The LED lights only consume about 1/5 the amount of power of what a traditional halogen light would. So not only is it going to be a more efficient light, but it's also much cooler, because if you just reach up and touch them, you'll notice that they're not going to be emitting a lot of heat. So trying to keep the coach cooler, the LEDs really work well for that. And then in addition, we've also upgraded our air conditioning systems. You'll notice now that there's no longer those large air conditioning returns that are located throughout the coach. This has 3 air conditioners on it. So they're all 13.5 B2 air conditioners with heat pumps. Each individual air has a heat pump, so 45-degree ambient temperatures and above, you don't need to run your aquat system. You can actually run the heat pumps off of the airs. And the way that the air conditioning system has now been redesigned, it's a much quieter and more efficient system. We refer to it as the Whisper Quiet system. Ultimately what it means is there's now multiple air returns, and they're located in a different space. It used to be the returns were in the center and the drops were on the outside. Now you have all the air conditioning cool air running down the middle, and the returns are outside. And that's by design, because when we've done all of our research and testing, what we found is all that murky, uncirculating air, all the air that just was really warm and had a hard time being processed, was always getting stuck out on the outside of the coaches. So we want to draw that back in and cool it again. And then we want to bring all that cool air down the center, which works well for when the slides are out, but then also when the slides are in. If you think about it, if your cold air is dropping from the outside with these slides in, there's a really hard time of circulating around. So it makes it quiet, it makes it cool, and you can go into much warmer temperature conditions and have the confidence to know that with the way that we insulate this vehicle and then the way that the air conditioning system's designed, it's just going to work a lot better than a lot of other manufacturers out there.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the bedroom, see what you got.
Okay.
Just such a big bedroom in this coach as well.
It is, and there's some special things that you just might not think about but really make a difference, and it starts with just bed height. One thing that we've found with a lot of these coaches is the beds are just so high up that you almost need somebody to give you a boost to get up and down off of them. And you'll notice this is much lower, easier to get in, and you can get around as well. I mean, you can walk on around either side. You're not having to climb up and down off of the bed from the end of it, and it's at a much better height. Full length, being 80 inches long, and then also wider, being a 72-inch wide. So it's a true king bed. We've also upgraded the mattresses. Only about a year or so ago, we've gone to these really nice Denver mattresses. So it's a nice plush bed.
It is.
And you know, one that you're, you know, in the old days we used to laugh about the fact that you always had to toss the mattress out right after you spent
that's
$300,000 plus for a motorhome, and now you're getting the right type of comfort in these beds to you know, something you can be proud of. You know, nightstands with storage. You got enough room for a glass. You know, you got windows on either side so that you get the nice cross ventilation. You know, nice depth and overall space in the overheads above the bed. So just a ton going on here on the bed side of the coach. And every single model that we design, we build the coach around the fact that it has to have a king bed. So we don't even offer a queen as an option because it's become so popular. And then there's even storage underneath it. I mean, you lift this up, which you barely even have to do anything, but just massive storage underneath the bed as well. So, you know, whether it be to put those folding chairs in, or, you know,
you did it
your
right
winter
too
clothes.
with the, you know, you did it right with the shocks where you don't have to hold the thing up. You know, because a lot of times it's, you know, again, just a corner that would get cut otherwise on a lot of other products.
Absolutely.
Just to finish it off. You know, the ceiling fan that you put in the coach.
Oh yeah, and it's great. A nice 12-volt ceiling fan. It's got twin speeds to it, and it does a really good job of circulating the air back here and doing it very quietly. So yeah, it's been an option, but I think we've done it on 100% of the coaches. So you know, definitely a very much an added value. And then when you move along over here to the opposing side of the coach, really just trying to make the most of the space that we have to work with. And so again, overhead cabinet, so, you know, lots of storage in there. And then the dressers, you'll notice that it's got two stages to it, because when these slides come together, the bed will actually overlap these bottom dresser drawers. So, you know, we can go to these nice full extension, really deep drawers, you know, place where if you wanted to sit down and just tie your shoes or whatever, you have the ability to do that. And again, all solid surface back here. You know, the nightstand tops, dresser tops, is all this really nice, very durable, solid surface in the bedroom area.
It's got a great look to it as well. Just really opens up the room with all, you know, the lighter colored countertops, you know, the light flooring, you know, the 12 by 18 inch tiles, you know, the stuff that you did, just all the little things just add up to such a great looking coach with just so much space and livability.
Yeah. You'll notice that all the new pocket doors are the nice full hardwood with decorative design. Again, just tying in with all the different interior stuff that we have going on in here. 2 sinks in the back of the coach. You know, lots of storage again underneath it.
Tons of drawers.
Tons of drawers.
And, you know, we're standing on top of a 450 horsepower engine, and you got to be over 6 feet, right?
I am. Yeah, I'm 6'2", and you got plenty of
still got
plenty up here.
Yeah, I mean, that's really impressive how you're able to pull that off in this floor plan, to have such a small step up from the rest of the coach.
Yeah, some of these motorhomes, I mean, it's big. I mean, 6 inches or more. So.
No, and I mean, I've lost some sales, you know, in other models. Literally, you know, guy's 6'2", 6'3", and he gets back here and he's like, well, I liked it until I got back here. I mean, he's out. You know, can't get in a shower. So it's just the, you know, how you're able to pull that off. Just a testament to, like I said, the entire floor plan. Just so many things so well thought out, Adam.
And then you have a one-piece molded fiberglass shower with a seat. We've even upgraded our shower head.
Right.
But we've gone to these new oxygenic shower heads. They actually work with oxygen to produce a much better, I guess, a stronger stream. So, you know, a lot of times if you've ever showered in a motorhome before, it's really hard to get that soapy film off of you, but this actually, it works much better, and it'll give you that nice shower that you've been looking for. You know, wardrobe space is another big deal back here, where we've gone to, you know, just a full-length wardrobe. We've also added in a cedar-lined shoe compartment in the back, where just a little area where, you know, we just weren't utilizing the space, but we had it. So we carved out this area and made it really nice, where you just, you know, you never have enough room in these things, and you want to try to find any last little place you possibly can.
I love how in all of your floor plans you always utilize every space. I mean, if it's there, you're gonna go find it. You know, you're going to figure out a way for them to use it. But like you coming back here and adding in this drawer, I just got a kick out of that when you opened up the closet and I saw that drawer there. I was like, only Adam's gonna go and he's gonna dig out that extra drawer. He ain't gonna leave it. He ain't gonna leave a stone unturned.
You know, so in addition to our regular wardrobe area, you know, for the ladies, it's nice to have full hanging space, and so, you know, for dresses and such. So we redesigned this area after some feedback from customers once again, and they said, Adam, come on, we need to have some full hanging wardrobe space in here. So for the ladies, here you go. We finally made that happen, and you know, it's really nice. Our engineers are creative. They work really well with our production team, and we've really been able to find out a lot of things and learn, you know, on, you know, what's best to do, and so just little nuances in the back end of this coach have really progressed since the original 45 LTs were designed.
It really has. Done an exceptional job. I guess really all that's left is taking a look at the cab area.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. It's just such a huge livable floor plan. You know something we almost forgot to talk about? I mean, you've got this huge pantry right here with a residential refrigerator and a whole nother bank of, what do we got? Those are really, I mean, that's a lot deeper than what I thought it was going to be.
They're really deep, yeah. And
so, I mean, you've got two pantries essentially.
It's funny because, you know, we look at our competition a lot, and there's a lot of motorhomes, believe it or not, even in 45 feet, that don't have a single pantry, and yet this one offers two. And you know, if you think about it, I mean, it's not just about what you can put in the refrigerator. You got a lot of other things, especially again, you know, with these larger motorhomes. We don't want you to have to go shopping every other day. I mean, you can pack it away in this motorhome.
I like how you're thinking. You got the pantry close to the bedroom too. That ain't far to walk for a midnight snack.
There you go. So as we get into the cockpit area of the coach, you'll notice that everything is really centralized. So, you know, up and above the pilot seat, we have your 5.1 Dolby surround sound home theater system, and it is a Blu-ray capable DVD player. So you can run the standard disc, or if you want, it'll run the Blu-rays, because we are running HDMI to all the television. So you get the full HD signal. There's HD capable satellites available for the coach. So we just want to make sure that we can, you know, really take advantage of the high-end equipment we're putting television-wise, and we have all the other equipment to go along with it. It's got a subwoofer, you know, it's got the whole deal. So, you know, surround sound systems, it's really a special type of system.
I liked how you mentioned the 5.1. Instead of y'all just going to a sound bar, which is easier and more cost efficient, y'all are truly running a surround sound stereo system with a, you know, 5.1 with your split speakers.
Absolutely.
So, I love the fact that y'all have stayed with that.
It's all about being as residential as we can possibly be, and you know, with these HDMI switch boxes, you know, we can really move, you know, whatever you desire around to any of the TVs, including the outside television. So it just makes it much more convenient. One thing we've found over the years in the RVs is things are way too complicated. So we've really just tried to simplify things and just really find out what our customers are looking for and deliver to that.
And you know, you were talking about ease of operation earlier, and how, you know, that was a goal of y'all's. I really like how y'all centrally located so many of the coach's systems right here.
Yeah, we have, and you know, we want to make sure, like I said, it makes things easy and convenient. And so it starts with, you know, your inverter controls are right here, so very easy to get to. Plus, something we didn't mention before, but the inverter also has an auto generator start feature to it. So, you know, with the residential refrigerator, and, you know, all the other electronics, there's going to be environments where, you know, it might necessarily, you don't want to be plugged in, or you don't need to be. You don't need to run the generator, so you can run TVs and lights, and you obviously want to make sure the ice box is going to stay cool. And what this system will do is manage your electricity to make sure that when, you know, the voltage gets down, rather than you have to constantly be running and checking to make sure that you're not running your batteries down too low, you can actually set the voltage on the inverter panel for that generator to turn on when it needs to. It'll also even work with temperature as well.
I was going to say, it's really important with pet owners in particular because of the temperature control. Because, you know, if they've got pets on the inside of the coach, they're out for the day. If for some reason, if the coach lost power, if they were plugged in and it lost power, it would sense the heat, generator cranks, turns the airs back on.
Absolutely. Yeah, or just even in those warmer environments where, you know, just quite simply, if the motorhome got too hot, it's going to take forever to get it cooled down again. You can just, you know, set that bar for yourself. But it just does a good job. And then moving along, I mean, another big deal, and something that a lot of our manufacturing friends fail to recognize. 85% of the typical issues that go on with motorhomes across the board for this industry have to do with electrical type of problems. And a lot of the things have nothing to do with the motorhome itself or the way it's been assembled, but more to do with the inconsistency that you'll arrive at when you go to the different parks. Because what'll happen is that they'll advertise 50 amp, this coach is built for 50 amp, but they won't really deliver upon their promise. And the problem is that unless you're an electrical engineer and know what your amp draws are and all this complicated stuff that hardly any of us know, you don't know what to do. So the one thing I can tell you never want to do is run too much in the motorhome more than what's coming into the vehicle. And with this energy management system, what it'll do is it knows exactly how much power is coming in, and if you're using more than you should, it will literally shed or basically turn off devices so you're never overusing anything. And you know, the problems with overuse are you could short out particular appliances. You know, you can pop fuses, breakers. Sure. You know, you could be just living the good life, and all of a sudden all the lights go out and you don't know what happened. Right. This will basically just manage everything for you, so you don't ever have to worry about entering into a problem that otherwise could have been avoided by having an intelligent type of energy management type of system on the unit. We put it on all our Tuscany brand product. And then just other little things, slide out controls are here. You know, your aqua controls I mentioned, you both have your electric and your diesel. You know, you can flip them both on and run them that way when you know you want to have the furnaces going. Sure. You know, all 3 zones for your heat and for your air conditioning. You know, very easy at fingertips reach. So it's all right here and available to you. Yeah,
it's really nice that you put it up in the front. You know, many times it's in the back of the coach or midship. You know, in the middle bathroom, stuff like that. It's just really accessible right here, right at the entry door. You know, so even when your slide out rooms are in, it's easy to get to cool it off before you even go to pack it, you know, those types of things. Sure. So it's just nice. Thank you. It's just well thought out. So I guess there's really nothing left but to talk about your all new dash that you designed.
Yeah, you know, and we're all about ergonomics and just making the driver feel as comfortable as possible. It can be a little bit intimidating with a 45-footer especially, but what you don't realize until you get in and drive one is how easy it is to drive. And it all starts with getting the driver comfortable. So, you know, the dash obviously wraps around, so everything's very accessible. You have the ability to both tilt and telescope the steering wheel. Right. And then in addition, we've added adjustable foot pedals. So, you know, when you're working with the adjustable foot pedals on the unit, which are going to be over here on this side, and then they move them in and out. So they work, you know, really nice. And then you also have a 6-way adjustment on the seat as well, so you can change the height, the tilt, and everything. So you can be very confident behind the steering wheel. And then, you know, it's all about visibility. You know, you have your GPS, which is standard. This has the side cameras, so when you flip to, you know, either side of the coach, it's gonna show the side of the unit. You know, so if you're changing lanes, you never have to worry about blind spots. You put it in reverse, you're gonna see, you know, the rear of the coach. So none of that stuff has to be done by pushing any type of button. Navigational work, it's all pre-programmed for it. You know, you have the shade, so you have both a sun shade and a night shade. So, you know, when you're trying to cut out any glare, you can do that as well.
And the solar shades are great because, believe it or not, when you're outside the coach, when the black solar shades are down, you really can't see inside the coach. I mean, it's almost like a different level of privacy because you can still see out, but they can't see in. So it's like a multi-function, you know. And then, of course, you know, keeping the sun out is a big deal when you're talking about the windshields the size that these are. You know, being able to have the solar shades.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, you know, even another, you know, comfort item that I almost forgot to mention because there's so many, is that you have this nice, what we call a VIP smart rail. So you're not having to, you know, worry about finding the windshield wipers because they're right here at a fingertips reach. You have your cruise control, which, you know, obviously when you're traveling in a motorhome, a lot of times it's going to be highway driving, and you know, you have all that stuff right here, so you're not constantly trying to seek out, you know, whatever it is you're looking for. So it's right here. You got your Hadley air horn that's operated right from the steering wheel. And then, you know, when you're driving, you know, obviously the gauges mean a whole lot. They're nice, bright, white, very visible gauges. So you're not having to worry about, you know, speeding because you can see exactly what you have right on here in terms of, you know, how fast you're going and your air pressure, because this coach has air brakes on it, including disc brakes on the front axle. So you'll be able to constantly monitor your air pressure and, the pressure that supports the air suspension system on the coach. Everything is really easy to see. And then Freightliner's kind enough to also bring in a integrated light bar as well. So, when you're trying to worry about your fuel economy and, all the other little things, from a mechanical standpoint, you can manage all that stuff, right there, and it's right, very viewable from where you're sitting here in the pilot area. Little things like the dash fans are here. This has a two-stage Jacobs brake, a true engine compression brake. So, whether it's 3 or 6 valves on the engine that you want to help use to help slow the coach down, they're right here. You got your docking light switches that are right here as well. So, transmission, having to reach way up, it's right here at the side. So, if you want to manually downshift, you can do that. And then you also have your jacks as well. But everything is right here and easy to use, and that's what makes driving this coach so great, because not only is it comfortable, but everything that's here is just in the perfect spot to make you feel like you already know what you're doing.
And what I noticed the most from standing here is how much space you have, even behind the seat right now. I mean, again, you're over 6 foot. Your feet really can't even touch the pedals from where you're at. Typically in a floor plan like this, they cheat and they'll take the room out, and you end up with a driver's seat that's smashed up against the back of the slide out room. We've had 45-foot motorhomes that literally a guy comes in, he's over 6 foot, and he's like, I'm not like under the dash, because they cheat everything so far forward to pull off that kind of living space. And you were able to do it and still have so much room behind the driver's seat. It's really impressive, because like I said, you didn't cheat this coach out of anything. That's for sure.
You don't realize how important it is to be comfortable until you take an 8-hour drive. That's when you really start to realize how important that is. And ultimately what it means is you're going to use the unit more, and that's what we want. We want people out here, taking this thing around, seeing what are all the beautiful things that this country has to provide, and you're going to want to drive and travel in this motorhome. You're not going to want to just park it somewhere.
So you can rest assured as well that if you're considering any Thor motor coach, their commitments to excellence in manufacturing has been taken to new heights. Thor has recently implemented the Gold Star inspection process that requires every new motorhome to pass a more than 200-point inspection and road test before leaving the factory. You'll also enjoy the comfort in knowing that your new motorhome is part of Thor's Rapid Response Parts Program that overnight express ships parts when they're required for the use of the coach or present a safety concern. And I know that you'll find Thor's new Concierge Connection to be a refreshing take on what true customer relations and factory support is supposed to be. For complete details on these incredible new programs from Thor Motor Coach, visit thormotorcoach.com.
Donnie, I've had some real personal experience seeing how well this new customer approach has really taken off and really taking care of our customers, because ultimately that's what we want. We want our customers happy and on the road and just enjoying life. And, being able to have technicians that are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that really know the motorhome, being able to really just, stay on top of the most important types of situations to make sure that they're supported, that means everything. And we want to be involved. And, I'm also happy to announce that as of August the 1st, we've now taken everything in-house, where it used to be, with, Onan or Cummins or Freightliner or some of these different places, it was always set up where the customer would have to deal directly with the vendor. We want them to deal through us, because they're our customer first and foremost, and so we'll do all the interactions with all the vendors that we do business with, whether it be Freightliner or the rest. So,
that's big.
So it's huge for us, because we have total control over their satisfaction, and we believe that we are more concerned about them being happy than anyway. Not to say that our vendors aren't, but we just want to make sure that we're involved, so that there's no excuses as to why our customers can't be the happiest motorhome owners on the road.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Truly, the buck stops there.
Yes, sir.
Well, Adam, again, I want to thank you so much. Our family always appreciates you being in town, and for taking so much time to show us this coach. You really did an incredible job building it, man. Really proud to know you as my friend, and just an incredible motorhome.
And folks, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come spend some time with Donnie and I.
So, of course, if you have any additional questions about the 45LT or any other Thor motor coach that we have here at Motorhome Specialists, please feel free to call one of our representatives at 1-800-335-6054 or visit us anytime online at mhsrv.com. Thank you all very much for watching, and we all look forward to hearing from you soon.